Painting's fun, especially when you can paint on objects. We experienced using brush tools to modify models. Here we're going to paint directly on the surface. You can paint directly on surfaces in Maya, Blender, other applications. Substance Painter is an excellent application for painting on models. Here, let's use Maya's built-in tools. Start out with a sphere, and I'm going to size up the sphere. I'm going to then apply a new material to it. This way we're painting into a new shader. And I'll call this my paint shader. It's Lambert. What happens when you paint within an application, files are created and these files then are connected to the shaders. Next, go under rendering and you'll find rendering off on the left side, this drop down menu, rendering, right there. After you select rendering, go to texturing and 3D paint tools. Before I begin though, let me save this file. File, save. Go call it painting 1. Since painting requires the creation of files to paint out each layer, whether it's color, diffuse, specular, bump maps, make sure you do file, set project, and create a new project for the files to be saved within. Otherwise, next time you open up Maya, you might not see your paint layer. So it's very important to set your project and then save it and then start painting. To continue, we're under rendering, texturing, click on the 3D paint tool property panel right here, and that opens up tool settings. You'll see this yellow message at the bottom of the screen. That yellow message is notifying you have to create a file before painting. Those brush strokes are saved into a file. Under tool settings, scroll on down to the file textures section and click on assign edit textures. Select the mode before you do that. I want to paint the color of this object, so I have selected color. You can select diffuse, displacement. You're painting one layer at a time with this application. After you selected that paint attribute, click on assign edit texture, select the size of this canvas to be created, this file size. I'm going to use 1024 by 1024. That's a decent resolution. And I'm going to use PNG files. And the reason I'm using PNG, because the file format has transparency. Click on assign edit textures. You'll see a brush appear and it's going to go right across the surface. Now, whether you're going to fully paint in Maya or just use Maya as little points of interest, and we'll get to that moment, so you can line up textures elsewhere, maybe you want to start out with by just painting out rough features. When you click on the surface, you place that painted dot. Now that I clicked on the surface and Maya knows I'm painting within this color file, hold down the B key and you can drag to the right with the mouse button pressed in, or the left with the left mouse button still pressed in to increase and decrease the brush size. Maybe this painting exercise isn't about fully painting in Maya. Oh, definitely not that. Undo that one. Let me hold down B key, make that smaller. Maybe it's about just getting the right position on your character, this lovely pair of glasses right in this position of your character, or you want to place a label onto your object. Let me save my textures, going back to the File Textures section, clicking on Save Textures. As you are painting, if you go to the shader, you can see that there's a file input connected to a file, and that file is what we just painted. If I track down this file, I can then open it up in Photoshop and edit this file, and when I edit this file, we'll see the changes right out here. Going to your 3D project, go to Source Images, 3D Paint Textures, Painting 1, and open up the appropriate texture in there. And this is what has been painted. We'll fix it quickly in Photoshop. Open with Photoshop, and I'm going to place on these pair of sunglasses. Copy. I'm going to position them exactly around the eyes. Paste. This is an example of why you might want to paint in order just to get a good reference within your 3D application of where objects go. Go flatten these layers. Merge those layers, save it. When I pop back into Maya and click reload for the image, there's our sunglasses. So now we got a smiley with sunglasses. You could continue painting this object. I'm going to pick up my last tool from here. If you don't see it there, go back under texturing, 3D paint tools panel with the color swatch selected, and you can continue where you left off. This is a good workflow to combine using a program you might be comfortable with, like Illustrator or Photoshop, and experimenting with brushes. If you really enjoy just painting right out on surfaces, then just follow the steps of just painting within here.